Hi, in this video we'll talk about H. pylori. So here is the list of the studies I used to make this video. I put them in the description box under the video. So H. pylori or H. pylori, not sure how you are supposed to pronounce that. So H. pylori, what is it? It's a very common bacterium that is found in at least 50% of humans, but according to some sources, it's like all the populations on Earth that has H. pylori in the stomach. So it's found on the gastric mucosa, primarily in the antrum and the fundus. So here on the picture, you can see the antrum is here at the bottom of the stomach, and the fundus is the upper part of the stomach. Its external structure is helical, hence its name Helicobacter, so helical, as you can see here in this picture. And it is equipped with flagella that allows it to move around in the stomach. It was discovered by two Australian researchers in 1982, and they received the Nobel Prize for the discovery in 2005. So what does it do? So here is a picture I took from a YouTube video that is very well done about Helicobacter pylori. The link is in the list of studies I've put on the first slide. So here you can see the stomach here in a corner, on the top left corner, the antrum, and here is like a zoom on this part of the stomach. So here you can see the epithelial cells, okay, of the stomach. Above it you have a layer of mucus that protects the epithelial cells from the acid that is this layer here in yellow. We have acid in our stomach to allow us to digest what we eat, okay? And above the acid layer, you have the lumen of the stomach, where are bacteria, amongst them H. pylori, okay? So H. pylori, what it does, it has an enzyme that is called urease that converts urea into ammonia, and ammonia is a very alkaline product, and that's why H. pylori can survive in the stomach acid because of this mechanism that protects it from the acid. So it makes urease that makes ammonia, and that's why it can go through the acid layer, cross it completely, reach the mucus layer, cross it completely until it reaches the epithelial cells. When it arrives there, it sticks to the cells and it produces toxins that are called VAC-A and CAG-A, which disrupt cell integrity and cause inflammation. Because you have inflammation, so what is inflammation? Inflammation is like, that's when the cells are damaged, and inflammation is the natural response of the body to try to repair the damaged cells, okay? So when you have inflammation anywhere in your body, you will have histamine because it always works together. Histamine is produced whenever there is inflammation, and also histamine signals the gastric glands to produce more acid. So here you have a vicious circle. You have inflammation, and because you have inflammation, you have more acid, and the acid aggravates the inflammation, and that's why you have ulcers in your stomach, okay? 80% of peptic ulcers are caused by Helicobacter pylori infections. It is estimated that 70 to 80% of infections are asymptomatic. So here what it says, it's actually that many people, as we said earlier here, like at least 50% of humans have H. pylori in the stomach. But only some people will have issues from that, from having Helicobacter pylori. So why? Okay, so maybe there are other explanations, okay? So, but here is the official allopathic explanation for H. pylori and ulcers in the stomach. But I will talk about what I think in the next slides. So, staying in the allopathic version that we just said. So, supposedly H. pylori is the cause of all of these issues: dyspepsia, gastric or duodenum ulcers, chronic gastritis, vitamin B12 malabsorption, deficiencies, hypochlorhydria, achlorhydria. It alters melatonin secretion. It is a scavenger of the antioxidants of the body. It increases the susceptibility to other infectious diseases such as cholera. It is a causative agent of acne vulgaris and PCOS. It raises blood pressure. It increases the incidence of diabetes. It causes stomach cancer, and it can also cause Parkinson's disease. So, how do you diagnose H. pylori overgrowth in your stomach? The urea breath test is the most common and the easiest way to detect H. pylori. But you can also do a stool test, you can also do a biopsy, you can do a blood test for H. pylori antibodies, and you can do a PCR test. And what is the solution according to allopathic medicine? So the solution is to give you antibiotics and PPIs, proton pump inhibitors, that are called also antacids, or to give you bismuth salts, that is a toxic metal. Okay, so but usually it's the first option that they give you. They give you several different antibiotics and PPIs. The problem with this treatment is that, with both treatments, is that they cause serious, very serious side effects. I speak about the very serious side effects of antibiotics in many of my other videos on my YouTube channel, so please go watch these other videos if you want to know more. And I also have a full video about the dangers of PPIs, so I put the link up there. Please go watch that video for more information about PPIs and antacids. So these drugs cause many serious side effects. Plus, H. pylori often comes back after treatment. Like it says in this study, the traditional proton pump inhibitors based triple therapy, PPIs plus 2 antibiotics, has been used for eradicating H. pylori for more than 20 years. However, PPI-based triple therapy provides low treatment success. Okay, not only it's dangerous, but it doesn't work very well. Now, I will tell you what I think about the H. pylori theory that we just saw. So what I just explained in the previous slides is like the point of view of allopathic medicine, that is the germ theory. The germ theory is the main theory accepted, like it is the theory accepted by the medical community since the beginning of the 20th century. And what is this germ theory? It is that all diseases, or most diseases, are caused by bacteria or viruses or microbes in general. Okay, and here regarding H. pylori and stomach ulcers and stomach issues, the theory of the germ theory says that you have stomach ulcers and stomach issues because you have H. pylori in your stomach, causing all the issues we just saw in the previous slides. Okay, but this is not my point of view. I don't think that the germ theory is right. I think that the terrain theory makes much more sense. So the terrain theory says that you will have overgrowth of this or that bacteria or microbe because there is an imbalance in that area of your body, in that organ. Okay, so you will have overgrowth of H. pylori in your stomach because there was an imbalance that happened in your stomach. The imbalance is not caused by H. pylori. H. pylori is the consequence of the imbalance. It's like when you see firemen on the site of a fire, the germ theory will accuse the firemen for setting the fire. Whereas the terrain theory says that, okay, there are firemen here because there is a fire. Why do I think that H. pylori is the consequence and not the cause of stomach issues? For several reasons that I will talk about now. First of all, H. pylori can be beneficial for our health. According to some studies, this bacteria is not necessarily pathogenic. H. pylori could be seen as a natural occurring acquired normal flora, and immunomodulating bacterium. H. pylori protects from esophageal cancer. It protects from obesity and type 2 diabetes. It prevents asthma, and it is an immunomodulator against infectious agents such as Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Also, you need to know that you have a microbiome in your stomach. So I know that most people think that the stomach is sterile, but it is not. Most people think that you cannot have any bacteria in your stomach, like in a healthy stomach, because the stomach is so inhospitable, because it's very acidic and there are tons of enzymes and stuff that makes it unable to live for most bacteria. But it is not true. There is a microbiome in the stomach. Actually, there is a microbiome in all of our digestive system. I know most people have heard of our microbiome in the gut, but it's actually everywhere in the digestive system. So this picture here, I took it from a study. You can see the link here, researchgate.net. So again, the link will be under this video in the description box, the links of all of the studies. So here on this picture, you can see the microbiome that you have in a healthy person in the mouth. Okay, here the microbiome in the esophagus. Here the microbiome in the stomach. Here the microbiome in the small intestine, and here in the colon. Okay, so this is like the normal microbiome in a healthy person, and here it's the unbalanced microbiome in a person that has been taking PPIs, antacids. So again, for more information about the dangers of PPIs, watch my video about that. So here I've put several studies that talk about the stomach microbiome. Okay, so as I said, most people think that the stomach is sterile, but it is not true. Okay, so the gastric microbiota is composed mainly of firmicutes, bacteroidetes, proteobacteria, and actinobacteria, with the most abundant genera being Streptococcus, followed by Veillonella, Prevotella, Fusobacterium, and Rothia. Okay, I won't read all of the studies here, so you can pause this slide if you want to read everything. Yeah, so like here it says a diverse community of 128 phylotypes was identified, featuring diversity in this site greater than previously described. The human stomach is a formidable barrier to orally ingested microorganisms and was long thought to be sterile. However, a substantial body of evidence documents convincingly that bacteria can regularly be sampled from the stomachs of healthy adults. And here in this study, it says bacterial overgrowth occurs when the gastric pH was 3.8. So the stomach is supposed to have a very specific type of microbiome. So what it says here is that when the pH is not right, you will have an imbalance happening in your stomach microbiome. The imbalance will start when the pH of your stomach increases above 3.8, increases above a pH of 3.8, okay? So as I explained in my other videos about the stomach, normally your stomach is supposed to have an acidity between 1 and 3, okay? Above that, above 3, it becomes more and more alkaline. So if you have a pH in your stomach above 3 to 7, you have hypochlorhydria, okay? And above 7, it's achlorhydria. So that means that you don't have enough stomach acid or that you don't have stomach acid. So again, I have a video about that. Please watch my video about that. So you will have issues because the pH is not right anymore. And it's the same story for the gut microbiome. So in your intestines, I have many videos about Candida, and it's the same story. You will have Candida overgrowth because of a change in the pH of your intestines, okay? It is the pH that creates, the overgrowth of this or that bacteria or fungi. Here also it says animal studies show that penicillin, so antibiotics, that penicillin treatment reduces lactobacilli populations and promotes yeast colonization of the gastric epithelium. So here again, we can compare it to what happens in our gut with candida and other fungal infections. So it can happen in the stomach also. You can have a fungal infection because the pH is not right anymore. So now we have seen that you actually have a microbiome in your stomach. And you will have issues with your stomach microbiome because there is an imbalance, and especially because there is a change in the pH of your stomach. So H. pylori is just the consequence of this imbalance. It's just the consequence of this change of pH. And what changes the pH in the stomach? As we just said, it can be PPIs, it can be other antacid medications, it can be antibiotics, it can be medications that will change the pH and therefore the population of your stomach and of your whole digestive system. So my logic makes me think, okay, the number one cause of stomach issues and generally digestive system issues, the number one cause for these issues, it is the chemical products. It is mainly chemical drugs. So my logic is like, okay, chemical drugs cause issues. So the solution won't be more chemical drugs. It will be, in my opinion, going back to nature, okay, and using natural remedies, because natural remedies, they don't mess with your pH balance in your digestive system, okay? So this is why I only recommend natural remedies for any type of digestive issues that you have. So number one thing that you can do, first of all, you should have a good diet. What is a good diet? In my opinion, the best diet is a Western A price type of diet. I have many videos on my YouTube channel where I talk about this diet. So please watch these videos for more information. But here in the studies that I read, these studies talk about several nutrients in particular that can help to rebalance your stomach microbiome. It will be a diet rich in vitamin C, E, D, in flavonoids, but also in vitamin A, in iron, copper, and B12. Probiotics are very important to treat H. pylori. But again, as we said, H. pylori is just the consequence of the disease. So probiotics will treat the imbalance that you have in your stomach. Why? It is because probiotics, amongst other things that they do, they make acids. And as we said, you need the right pH in your stomach. And it is an acidic pH that you need in your stomach so that your stomach can function properly and so that bacteria like H. pylori don't overgrow. Okay, so that's why probiotics are necessary to heal your stomach. There are many different strains of probiotics. You will find many different studies that say this strain, works very well. This strain works very well. Actually, you don't really need to worry about what type of strain you will take for your stomach issues, because as I usually say in most of my videos and in general, I always say you don't want a monocrop in your gut. You want a jungle. So I usually say that about the intestines, about the microbiome in the intestine. But as we saw, you have a microbiome in all of your digestive system. So you don't want a monocrop. You don't want to use only one type of probiotic. You want to bring lots of different strains of probiotics. So you don't really need to worry about what type of strains, because so here in these studies they detail what type of strain, and here in this chart also they say Lactobacillus acidophilus, tons of different lactobacillus, but not only, you have bifidobacterium, etc., etc. But again, don't worry about that. Worry about taking probiotics that have as many strains, as many different strains as possible. Another treatment for your stomach issues, it will be with herbs. What herbs do, they don't work like chemical drugs do. Like if you take, for example, antibiotics, they destroy like one type of bacteria and they create more imbalance because other types of bacteria or especially fungus will overgrow in consequence of antibiotics. But that doesn't happen with natural remedies, with natural herbs. Even if we call them antibacterial herbs, they are much more than that. They are much more broad spectrum compared to the chemical drugs. You cannot have a fungal overgrowth happening when you take natural remedies, because they are broad spectrum. They will regulate everything. They will regulate bacteria, they will regulate fungi, they will regulate parasites, okay? Whereas, as I said, chemical antibiotics, they only target one type, and therefore the other types of microbes will overgrow in consequence, okay? So natural herbs, antibacterial herbs, are much, much, much safer. They work in symbiosis with your body. They help rebalancing what needs to be rebalanced in your body. So here in this study talks about 30 different Chinese herbal medicines that help with H. pylori overgrowth. I won't read everything, of course. These herbs are not so common here in France, at least in Europe. Maybe where you are, where you watch this video, you have heard about some of these herbs, but here we don't hear about them so much, because these herbs are Chinese medicine herbs, or herbs that you can find in Ayurvedic medicine. But the ones that we have heard about, at least, are this one, Eugenia caryophyllata, it's cloves. This one here is sea buckthorn, and this one is sana. Okay, so these ones we know them in Europe, but the other ones are not so much. But anyway, all of these herbs help for H. pylori. Also in this study, it talks about citrus fruits, very good to help rebalance your stomach. Here it's another study about two herbs in Argentina that I won't read, you see the names here, that help for H. pylori. And this last study talks about cranberry juice. So maybe you have heard about cranberry juice that helps for UTIs, okay, bladder infections, because what it does, cranberry juice makes the bacteria unable to stick to your cells. So they slide and they are flushed out this way. And it actually can work the same in your stomach. So if you drink cranberry juice, H. pylori won't attach to your stomach cells. H. pylori will be flushed out from your stomach. So finally, so what do I recommend? What would be the natural treatments that I would recommend for someone who has H. pylori, who has stomach issues, who has stomach ulcers? So as we saw, H. pylori overgrows because of a change in the stomach pH. It is the same story for Candida. So it is necessary to restore the correct pH in your stomach to heal your stomach. We do that mainly with probiotics. But first of all, good diet, as I said, Western price type of diet. Eliminate chemical toxins, all toxins, okay, all drugs. If you can eliminate all the chemical drugs you take, that would be the best thing you could do. But of course, you need to work with your doctor if you have like a treatment, a long-term treatment that you're taking. And stay away from stress, because I haven't mentioned that in this video yet, but I talk about stress as one of the main causes of stomach issues in my other videos about stomach issues. So relaxing and staying away from chronic stress is very, very important. So as we said in the previous studies, so we know that citrus fruits help, that the Argentina herbs help, we know that cranberry juice help, but there are other things that can help. Phenol-rich essential oils like oregano essential oil, thyme, cinnamon, clove, they are very good to get rid of H. pylori, to get rid of the overgrowth that you have in your stomach. But if you have gastritis, if you have a stomach ulcer, chances are you won't be able to tolerate these essential oils, because yes, they are very efficient to rebalance the bacterial population in your stomach, but they are quite harsh, and chances are they will worsen your stomach pain. So that is great, but I would not recommend that at first. At first, you need to heal your stomach, to heal the tissues of your stomach before taking these things, okay? Mastic gum can help. There are contradictory studies about that. Some studies show it works kind of like half of the time. Some studies show that it doesn't really work. Some studies show that it works in vitro, not so much in vivo. But I have seen several testimonies of people saying that it really helped them. And in my opinion, there's no harm of trying that. So yeah, I think mastic gum can be a good option. Broccoli sprouts can help, but in one study, it was not shown to be very efficient. In that study, it says consumption of oral broccoli sprouts was temporarily associated with eradication of H. pylori infection in 3 of 9 patients. Okay, so it's less than 50%. So it's not very efficient, but why not? You know, it can help. And talking about broccoli and cabbage in general, I have a whole video about how cabbage juice can help heal your stomach ulcers. I put the video up there. Please go watch it. Some studies talk about NAC and curcumin for getting rid of biofilms. Okay, so here again, same story as if you have candida overgrowth. To get rid of candida, you need to rebalance the pH of your gut, as we said before. And when you take herbs to lower the population of candida, you need to take biofilm breakers because candida will hide under biofilms to protect itself from these herbs. So you need to take the herbs to get rid of candida, the antimicrobial, antifungal herbs, and to take biofilm busters. So it's the same story for H. pylori. You need to take biofilm busters if you want to get rid of H. pylori with these other natural remedies that we are talking about. Okay, so NAC is very good, and curcumin also, according to some studies. Of course, take lots of probiotics, as I explained before, and take clay and aloe vera. That's very important, very, very important to heal the stomach mucosa. Okay, so I have a whole video about clay if you want more detail about clay, how to take clay. And I have 2 videos, and I will make another one soon, about aloe vera gel, how to take it. Okay, that will, in my opinion, aloe vera gel is one of the most important things that you can take. And finally, vitamin C, E, and D, as we said before. So either you have a good diet rich in foods rich in these vitamins, either you can take supplements, but I do not recommend taking isolated vitamin supplements like ascorbic acid or vitamin C, liposomal vitamin C or stuff like that. No, I don't like these things at all. I have videos and an article that details why I really don't recommend to take isolated vitamins and minerals. So what I recommend for vitamin C, so either in your food, either as a concentrate, as a food concentrate like acerola powder. For vitamin E and D, it can be by eating cod liver or drinking cod liver oil. Cod liver oil has both vitamin E and D. If you only want vitamin E, that can be with vegetable oils, especially like wheat germ oil that is very rich in vitamin E. But you need to find like a very good source that is cold press, organic, and so on. Okay. This is what I recommend in this video if you have H. pylori. So yeah, my recommendation is, as much as you can, don't take chemical drugs to treat any type of digestive issues that you have. I know it can be complicated because we have been taught that, allopathic medicine is the only route, but it's really not. Like, you have great natural alternatives to chemical antibiotics. I have a video on my channel about what you can do if your doctor tells you to take antibiotics. You can choose to take natural antibiotics that don't have as many horrible side effects as the chemical ones. But in general, try to avoid chemical drugs because chemical drugs are what cause all these chronic diseases. Okay, of course, you need to take the advice of your doctor before mine, because that's how it is. That's the law. We are not supposed, us naturopaths, we are not supposed to tell you to not listen to your doctor, but at least try to find a doctor that is open-minded that is open to natural treatments, and yeah, that ideally is not the kind of person who will give you tons of chemical drugs. Anyway, I have a course to heal your gut. The link will be under the video in the description box if you need more help than what I give in my videos on YouTube. I can help you in private to heal. I can help you heal your digestive system, your stomach issues. So go click on that link under the video. I see you in the next video. Bye bye.